So you mean what?
What is it?
Like, how do you think I feel?
Hey guys, welcome to Little Blackbird 91. Listen, a nice quick one. I'm lying to you, but listen, I want to break down King's Court season 1, episode 4. I find this episode to be really interesting from an attachment perspective. This young lady here, Janae, has been rocking with Carlos for so long. I say long, it's only been 4 episodes, but she's been rocking with him for a little while. All right, she's got into her feelings. She likes him. He said he likes her. They've been getting real close. He seemingly hasn't looked at any other woman since he's been with Janae. The problem is that it's a game show and he's still open. And then another girl walks in, another girl called Jennifer, who seems to be in a much better position. She goes to the same church he does. She likes him. She's beautiful. She's pretty. She's got pretty toes. She's got pretty fingers. Okay, like she is pretty. Okay, not my type now. You know, I like him a little bit darker, but I understand, right? And so it's thrown a lot of things into the work. But what ended up happening is, in this scene here with Janae and Carlos, she ended up saying, you know, about, you know how I feel, you know, like, and saying, you should know how I feel, basically. And what I realized is that Janae is doing what a lot of people do when they have an insecure attachment. They start projecting how they feel onto other people. And then they start asking people to mind read. And then they get pissed off when people don't actually read their mind. Look, if you haven't said it, they can't read your mind. You need to say it out loud. So we're going to break it down on this episode, this whole review, but I'm going to do it in an attachment perspective so that you can learn, hopefully grow, and get something from it as well when it comes to communication in relationships as well. All right, so let's break this episode down, because it wasn't just Carlos and Janae having problems. Tyson, we need to talk about Tyson. He's got commitment issues, okay? And the fact that he could not spot that it wasn't Jennifer who was his match, but actually was Allison, tells me a lot more about Tyson than he realizes, okay? His inability to look past beauty is a problem. Tyson is still surface level. He doesn't go deeper than that. And that's why he missed who his match was. He couldn't leave Jennifer alone. In fact, he told her from the jump, I'm almost falling in love with you. How? You don't know her. And so that idolization, that early kind of, you know, in another video, I talk about desperation. Tyson isn't desperate because, again, he gets a lady. So he's not desperate. But Tyson's speed should concern you. The fact that he can be so much like, you know, almost like a lover, you know, first sight. And bro was on assignment to find out who the girl was for him, and he couldn't spot who the girl was for him, and he got it wrong, should tell you that Tyson doesn't actually go that deep. He needs to go deeper. Okay, but we're going to talk about Tyson in a second or two. All right, we're going to talk about him as well. And then Titan obviously had a great kind of connection with Khalil, but we didn't get to see much of Titan. On this episode, he sent his match home, Dr. Shawana. I told you. I said all that aggression. He gonna tell you that he wants aggression. The moment she turned off the aggression, he said he doesn't want it no more. And I said, I don't think he actually wanted it in the first place. I think Titan liked her, but let's be freaking honest. I think he didn't necessarily want her, you know, because maybe we haven't seen it. Maybe it was edited out. There should have been a conversation to, you know, really kind of rile her back up again. Say, hey, look, don't lose sight of it. I like you. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk into this. Let's get deeper. Let's deal with this situation here. Okay, let's deal with the situation here. All right. First and foremost. All right.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Who was your match? Carlos. Well, I'm not surprised if they matched us because there's very obvious things that were connecting us.
Oh, okay, so it made sense to you.
Okay, so Janae's asking this question like, do you know do you know how I feel? Right? So Janae starts asking this question, all right? And the problem with this situation is that Janae's asking from a perspective of, do you know how I feel? No, I don't. And even if I did, why do you want me to jump ahead of the gun and say how you feel? If you feel something, it's on you to come and tell me how you feel, first and foremost, right? Don't try to make me assume how you feel, because what you're doing is you're removing ownership of you taking control of your feelings and your ability to communicate how you feel from yourself and putting it onto the other person. And then you're going to punish that person. And this is what we do when we have an insecure attachment. So this is actually something that's usually I see with avoidance a lot. Avoidance do this a lot, but also anxious people could do this too. But I see this a lot with avoidance, right? Where they avoid talking about their feelings. But this specifically, what she did is very much in alignment with fearful avoidance, because usually the dismissive avoidant won't tell you. They'll just disappear. The fearful avoidant will say something that is trying to test you, to rope you in. So she feels like the other person's kind of going away from her. Maybe she feels like Carlos was drifting. Carlos wasn't being as present. And because there was another girl that was coming in, she felt like her position was under threat. She no longer felt safe. And when she didn't feel safe, instead of communicating, saying, hey, Carlos, I just need a little bit of reassurance from you. You know, I know you're with me. I know you like me. It's just that I feel a bit, you know, shaky because I saw the other girl. coming in, and I won't lie to you, I felt a bit threatened, you know. But I want to be honest with you. I still like you. I'm still where I am. I just want to be honest. I just need a little bit of reassurance. And look, now he may say, "Oh, why are you doing that? You're being too much." If that's the case, he ain't the one for you, though. I want to say it again. When someone is able to communicate with you and say and being vulnerable and say, "Hey, can I be honest with you? Look, I'm not blaming you. I'm not putting this on you. I understand it's a game show. I understand that you've got to get to know the other ladies. I don't like it. But, you know, I can't lie to you right now how I'm feeling. I'm feeling a little bit jealous. I'm feeling a bit envious, you know. But I just really need a little bit of reassurance. If someone can communicate to you like that, where they're owning their feelings and they're not putting it on you, all they're asking for you to do is reassure them, and then they turn around and make it an issue with you, they ain't the person for you. They ain't the person for you, because they're going to punish you for you being honest about your feelings. Asking for reassurance isn't an issue. She didn't say cancel out the other girls. She's not saying remove them, if that's what she said. Now, she didn't say that. So that's me saying about better practice. Let's go a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, if the roles were reversed, like, what do you think would be bothering me?
Now, let's pause it right here. Why are you putting the onus on Carlos to assume how you feel? Now, some people might be like, hey, he should know. Stop it. If you're one of those people that are going to start saying you should know, I want you to stop it. Own your feelings and own your emotions. Go to that person, right? As long as they haven't broken boundaries, okay? They haven't broken boundaries. And even then, you still need to be assertive with your feelings. You are the owner of your feelings and of your boundaries and of your emotions, not them. So don't let them, don't remove your ability to have accountability here and share what you feel. So when she's saying, obviously, do you know how I feel, right? You should know how I feel because we're in a competition. Darling, say how you feel. I'm feeling a little bit left out. I'm feeling a little bit pushed aside. That's how I'm feeling right now. I really just want a bit of reassurance. You know, maybe I need a hug. Maybe I need a cuddle. Maybe I need a bit of alone time with you. You know, say how you feel. Make it easy for the other person. Stop making it a game. It's not funny and it's not cute. It frustrates people. It's annoying when both men and women do this. Like, you want us to read between the lines. No, be clear and concise. If you don't know how you feel, go and sit down, figure it out, come to the playing ground. Because you're going to add more fuel to the fire if that person doesn't read exactly what you felt. And I've done this several times myself. I know where you just expect the other person to know how you feel, when really and truly you should be saying to them, I actually feel some type of way, you know, right? So here she's asking to kind of read her mind. Like, yo, no one's going to do that, bro.
Like, you're being so weird since the second you got home.
It's just because you and I have an amazing bond, and according to the matchmaker, she's my perfect match.
Now let's pause it right here. Let's pause right here. Now, she has a valid point, right? She says, obviously, look, since you got home, you've been kind of like, you know, moving a bit weird. Well, actually, he says that he said earlier on that you've been moving a bit weird as well. So you need to take stock of be self-aware. Am I moving differently? You know, right? You could, so in that space, absolutely. You feel like he's been moving differently since he got home. Is there any particular reason why? Now, he's explained it. The other girls come in, you know, she's sounding like she's meant to be my perfect match. I've gotten with her. I'm not sure about it. And then I can be like, okay, cool. Like, look, you know, I'm happy for you to have your connection. I want you to be able to explore, you know, and, you know, I'm going to continue to ask for my needs in this situation. If you ever feel like you can't meet those needs, no worries. I'll go my way, you go your way. If she's a better match, you go your way, I go my way. Okay? So it's like you have to be able to, and that's the toughest. What I'm explaining is the most difficult thing to do. What I'm talking about is the most difficult thing to do for anybody, because what I'm asking you to do is be vulnerable, show up, don't go offline, right? And get stuck in. So I'm asking you to, fine, you can see the situation isn't playing out in your favor. You do not like it. And let me tell you this now. I know how hard this is. I'm just telling you, it's not easy. You don't like the situation. You're feeling threatened right now. You're seeing the other girls come into there. Absolutely, you're right. It is a scary place to be, right? I'm a little bit jealous. I am a little bit apprehensive. I'm a little bit afraid. You know what I'm saying to you? At the same time, I know we have a great connection, and I trust that you'll be able to communicate with me if things change. Let me know where your head's at the time. That's all I'm ever asking. You know, let me know where your head's at. You know, and I want to be honest with you too. You know what I'm saying to you? You know, so this is where we have to understand that communication is so vital, because it actually allows you to also be free. Because now she's gonna feel like she's gonna feel like he doesn't care because she wanted to test him by going, but you should know how I feel. Okay, now he's failed the test. What we gonna do? He gonna fail the test now because you done to try to play a game of puzzles instead of just saying it what it is. You're trying to be like, so you should know how I feel. No, just say how you feel. Now his body language was not open. I agree that.
I had to process it for a minute.
This body language ain't really open, and there's only 1 or 2 times I've seen him like that. But this body language wasn't open. This body language was telling me everything I need to know. He was closing himself off to her at that moment. That doesn't mean overall, but at that moment. You know what I'm saying to you? At that moment, he was closing himself off. He did not like what was happening in that situation and in that particular moment. So he had folded his arms to protect himself. I call it emotional leakage, where he's leaking out how he feels through the body language. So although he's looking like he's very calm and composed, the arms over the shoulders, usually his arms were down, but his arms are very closed off at this point, because I believe that the situation is getting a little bit tense. He knows that she's been off, and she knows he's been off. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Next time.
Okay, so let me get another earlier clip, because that conversation was earlier on as well, which was Carlos had a situation earlier on, but I'll talk about that in a second. Because obviously earlier on as well with Janae, she spoke about how for her, she does feel some type of way about the situation. She admitted that she goes cold, and she admitted that she can go into self-sabotage mode at certain points. Let me see if I can get you a clip. She admitted that, right? That at points in time, she can self-sabotage. And he asks, what does that mean? You mean self-sabotage? How do you mean by self-sabotage? And she explained it, saying sometimes when she doesn't feel in a particular space, then she can end up going to that place where she self-sabotages the connection. And, because she can end up running away because she's afraid, which is natural. Like a lot of us have those things where we can feel a bit scared and we can self-sabotage. So there's nothing wrong with that. And it was great that she explained that. I think that was a really good explanation to let him know where you are emotionally and how you are dealing with it as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again, I think that was a really good explanation about the situation. Again, this also played into the fact that I believe that for her, she is of a fearful, avoidant type of perspective, right? Attachment style. And she said, obviously, that, it almost feels too good to be true, that her relationships, and that's when she's afraid because she feels like the rug will be pulled from underneath her. And so at that particular point, that's when she goes cold. She goes cold in order to protect herself so that she doesn't lose a person. That's why she says she's a fearful avoidant, because she can be very anxious, but at the same time, she can also be very cold, and she can mirror behavior. Okay, so she's admitted she self-sabotages. She admits that she can get nervous and bitchy and scared. Okay, and that she, and for her, she can end up shutting down. Well, all of those things are an indication of our inability to stay online to be able to communicate. When you are somebody who shuts down, who wants to mirror, you go cold, you can't really express yourself, because you're feeling scared of what that connection can produce. That tells us that we lack the knowledge to be able to fully communicate how we feel. We are afraid that if we do communicate and do say how we feel, our needs will not be met. We may not be heard. We may not be appreciated. We may not be propped up. We may not be secured by the other person. So rather than opening ourselves up and being vulnerable, we end up mirroring. We end up being bitchy. We end up going cold. Okay. All right. So in this space, what it tells us is we need a bit more. We need to work on our nervous system and our emotional regulation, because your fear of them betraying you, rejecting you, or abandoning you leads you to behave in a way that's incongruent with the way that you believe you should behave, in the way that you know you should behave, in the way that you want to behave. Okay, So this is really important to really be able to get down to a T. It is not not person's a bad person. It's just a way that we learn how to communicate, because due to the way you've been the way you've been brought up in chaos, in violence, of emotional violence and verbal violence, being in a household where it's unpredictable, anything could happen, anything goes, shouting, screaming, fighting, all that kind of stuff happens. Or you grew up in a house where the parents very angry, or a drunkard, or a drug person. The household wasn't safe, right? Communication it's not the communication wouldn't have been pretty. Oh, in this household we shout, in this household we scream at each other, in this household we cuss each other out, and it's nothing, we get over it. But you don't recognize that does something to your nervous system, but it also does something to you in terms of your safety. Because as much as you may have managed to survive the household where you can cuss each other out, say anything you want to say, yeah, the moment someone cusses your house out too nicely, you start feeling some type of way. It's all well and good when you're doing it, but when they get you, suddenly you realize you're not as secure as you were. Right? Jokes are not jokes anymore, or that the way that someone's shouting at you or talking to you ain't acceptable anymore. Right? So that's important to understand, that we need to learn how to regulate ourselves and come to a place of secureness. We need to name what's happening to us. We don't need to internalize it to a point where we don't talk about it. We need to say it out loud. Say it loud, say it clear, for the whole wide world to hear. Okay, right? So it's like you've got to practice saying what's happening to you. You're drowning, but you got to say it, because if you don't, you'll drown further. So with Janae, she needed to be truthful about how she felt. And it's a scary place to be. I want to tell you this now. To tell someone, listen, I can't lie to you, I really like you, but I am afraid that the other girl you might have a good connection with, and I'm afraid that you might leave me for her. You know what I'm saying to you? So it makes me a little bit uneasy, right? Now, that is not the easiest thing to say. Who wants to be exposed like that? But what you'll do when you end up doing that is that you free yourself from the imagery that you believe you should be. You free yourself from the constraints of that image that you've built up as an idol and as a character and a framework that you're supposed to be like. And you tear that idol down when you start speaking the truth. Because you're not perfect, right? Nobody is. So tearing that down, okay, all right, allows you to be able to be emboldened, because now you can actually see the person who they are. If they take advantage of your vulnerability, they ain't the one. And I can tell this now, if they take advantage of your vulnerability, you're going to come back stronger next time. You're going to recognize, oh, wow, that's what you do when I give you vulnerability. Oh, I got to go. Thank you for letting me know early. Thank you for letting me know early. I didn't recognize, but now I see you. All right. And there's something about hitting the bottom. Once you hit the bottom, you're not afraid of the bottom, because it's only up from here. You know what I'm saying to you? So when you rip that bandit off, it really does help. So I want Janae to get to that place, because it's going to cause her to really be able to struggle to be able to maintain with Carlos. And Carlos is now looking at her in a weird way, rather than looking at her as a woman that he always wanted. He's feeling like, oh, and let me just say this now. Look, let me tell you this now. You got two choices: communicate or get out of that place. You got two choices: communicate or get out of the competition. Okay? That's all you got. In this situation, you got two choices: communicate and go forward, or tuck your tail in and run away. There is no shame in you running away, because this dynamic is forcing you to confront things that you would ordinarily not have to confront in this particular dynamic. And I'm telling you, from somebody who's had to confront it, the things I've seen last year, whew, baby, I can say this now. I have compassion. Okay? I really do have compassion for Janae. I know it's not easy. I know that when you're under pressure and you like someone so much and they seemingly like you, but they've got you on hold, but you're having to be more secure than you've ever been in your entire life so that you don't crash out and look crazy. Yeah, I know that feeling. I know it very well. And I know that you have two choices: run away or go through it. I chose to go through it, because I said, I'm not going to allow myself to die here. And that's when I found a new person. And I was like, damn, I could do this. Oh, you mean I just need to communicate how I feel? Yeah, when I communicate how I feel, I can see you and I can see me. I can see you and I can see me. Right? And maybe you need to do some rejigging to the relationship you have with Carlos. You thought you were closer to him than you actually were. Okay, I need to rejig it a little bit. I'm not saying even to leave. I'm saying rejig it. Okay, you know what, Carlos? Look, I didn't realize we were getting that close to you. You know, my bad. In your head, you're recognizing like, okay, I need to put some boundaries in place now. Maybe I've gone too quickly, too fast, and I don't recognize that I've gone somewhere where he's not at. Okay, let me wind it in. Let me wind it in a little bit. You know what I'm saying? She's not gonna go full gun ho. Let me take my time a little bit. Let me not throw all my eggs into that basket. Let me take my time a little bit and be a bit more precautious. Let me ask a few more questions now. Let me get to know the man's mindset a bit more because he's thrown me into a loop. Let me not pretend I'm still there. You know what I mean? And that's hard to do, but I understand, you know, it's not so simple. Let's look at this connection here. Okay.
It's flawlessly gorgeous, and I'm blown away. We just hit it off right away with great chemistry. She's being very vulnerable. I'm definitely intrigued.
You got engaged twice, maybe third time's a charm.
Now I'm going to tell you something. Carlos going to meet the same type of woman because Carlos has to learn the lesson too. I want you to understand something in this life that don't think you're the only problem. They're the problem too. Okay? All right? Everybody needs to learn. Carlos thinks he's going to get a new babe. He's about to get the same babe. The same girl he thinks he's getting a different girl because the body's different. The mind is exactly the same. This particular woman here called Jennifer, okay, she says she's a runner and a track star. She's a runner and a track star. She gonna run away when it gets hard. Now, of course, in her situation, we have to be fair. The two situations she mentioned, one was a cheater and one was an abuser, okay? And yeah, one was a cheater, one was an abuser, and I think she had been in an abusive relationship as well, right? And she let him know that from early. And I was like, baby, it's a bit early to let him know that you've been abused, but okay, cool. Maybe you just feel comfortable. But I said, maybe she's oversharing. Maybe she's also trying to overshare to make herself feel better. Okay, all right. So I was like, yo, okay, you showing a lot of your scars. Whilst that may sound very abnormal, I've just met you. And sometimes when people are showing you their scars so early, it's not that they're being so vulnerable, it's that they are oversharing because they are afraid of being rejected down the line. So they try to show everything now so that you can say yes or no. If you say no, they're like, well, it's over already. I don't have to wait till later on. I don't trust that you might do this. I don't trust you enough to be able to hold on and see what happens. I'll get my heart broken down the line. And I get it. But they're oversharing. And you have to also understand as well that her sharing the fact that she had got to engage twice, saw the problems. I said, she's a runner, she's a track star. I mean, she shouldn't have stayed in those relationships anyway. They were bad relationships if she goes by what she said, right? But her mum already said, I think her mum said something about the way that she dates or whatever, right? I can't remember what the exact line was, but the mum said something about the way she dates or whatever. And so I saw that and I was like, okay, she's been through cheating, through drugs, through domestic violence. Okay, Carlos might offer that more steadiness, but she has a flight response. She doesn't seemingly, she might not be able to see red flags very well, which means she may overcompensate, or she may be too open to things that are wrong and allow the time to elapse for too long. Okay. So my thing is this: he's about to meet the same woman. Okay, he's about to meet the same woman. Now, this is really important. Why is this important? Because she wasn't necessarily attracted. No, she was seemingly more attracted to Tyson. Pay attention to what happened here. She told us, she's playing a character, by the way, as a fearful avoidant. I think she's a fearful avoidant too. She's playing a character. Let me tell you why. She said that, you know, she goes to church every Sunday. They both was like, yeah, we go to church on Sunday. Da, 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 da. And then spoke to Tyson, and Tyson's the one that she was really feeling. I can't say she was really feeling Tyson. Let me not say that. That's an assumption. But she really liked Tyson, like physically. And I said, she's about to exist in the same pattern. Tyson isn't committing to anybody. Okay? Tyson has commitment issues. Okay? Tyson just wants to have fun. And the fact that she was drawn to him also tells me about the energy that he carries, that she also is paying attention to energy, but she likes chaos. So if she ends up going with Tyson, she will not have learned the lesson. She'll still be doing the lesson again. because she hasn't learned that there's a pattern that she goes by, and she needs to slow it down to get an understanding of what Tyson really is. When you've been burnt the way she has, drugs, domestic violence, cheating, you should slow down. Any other relationship after that, you should slow down. Any other relationship after that, you need to slow it down. Slow down. I just want to get to know you. Don't turn around. Like, you need to slow it down. You should not be going at full speed for anything, right? And chill. Because you need to assess who the person is in front of you and make sure that you're not missing red flags because you like them and they're attractive and they're charming and they speak to your inner wounds. So she should have slowed it down. But with Carlos, they're going to learn a different lesson, because Carlos needs to learn how to also create safety. Because right now, although I believe that he does create safety because he did it with Janae, but obviously Janae feels the way she does, and he could have anticipated her points and said to Janae, look, I think you might be spiraling a little bit. I want to reassure you, I'm still here for you, but I still got to be open to the process. This other lady is really beautiful. I like her. I think she's cool. I need to be able to explore that. You know what I'm saying, Chu? Like, he also needs to learn how to communicate that to her. Rather, Carlos put his hands over here and was like, what's going on with you? He knows what's wrong with her. He knows. But he didn't want to have to explain himself either. He can see you spiraling, but offered no reassurance. He's going to have to learn that. Because if he's going to go with this girl, Jennifer, the same thing is going to happen. You see, the Lord that we serve, the good God that we serve, is going to allow life to teach you the lesson you need to learn. Okay? To teach you the lesson you need to learn. Because in order for you to get into a healthy place, some of you got hard heads. Your conco is very hard. And you need to learn it through experience rather than learn it through textbook or academics or listening to other people's experiences. And so for Jennifer and Carlos, Jennifer is a runner and a track star. And so at that same point, right, Carlos needs to learn how to create emotional safety so that she doesn't become a runner and track star. He needs to show a level of consistency and not be a cheater. Now, I'm not saying he's a cheater. I'm saying that for his past experiences, he's been a cheater before. He needs to learn how to create safety and learn how to spot the signs so he can also offer what we call reassurance. Okay? It's really important. Okay? So that lesson is going to be learned all over again. You know what I mean?
Third time the
That's what I'm
charm.
talking
You
about.
never know.
Family. I'm like,
Never know. The next one might be the one.
So my thing also is that church, obviously, as well. I was like, wait, hold on. Church situation with Tyson and her. They never mentioned God's situation. Why? I didn't think Tyson was a Christian or anything like that. So I'm like, wait, hold on. Okay. Right? Okay. I was like,
oh, wow. And I looked at him and I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Hi.
So what do you do?
I'm an architect.
I was into architecture at one point,
Oh.
but I'd love to see.
Now I want you to notice something about Tyson. I want you to notice something about Tyson. Okay. Now Tyson had a conversation with Jennifer. He said that it was almost like love at first sight with her, right? Notice something about Tyson, what he does. Look at his body language. Okay. Notice something about Tyson Beckford here. His body language. Why is he not facing her? Why has he got his side profile and turning his head? She's got her body towards him. This is very important. Okay, it's very important because what he's doing is he's disconnected. He's allowed when you are emotionally connected to a place and person, right? The reason why someone looks intense is because when they give you eye contact, their body's facing you. They're giving you eye contact right now, right? So they're holding your gaze. They're giving you eye contact. You can either run away or you can also connect in that moment. Now, what tends to happen is if you also engage with me, okay? So look, just, if you're looking at your camera now, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. If you walk away, you'll probably feel a bit uncomfortable. Now, if you're married, don't do this because it's not for you, okay? But only for those of you who are single, don't do this now. Don't look at the camera if you're married already and got a man, okay? I don't need no trouble, okay? Next, your man's coming into the room asking questions. Why you looking at the camera like that, okay? But we're going to do a little something. I'm going to look at you. Okay, and you're gonna hold my gaze for a few seconds. It's gonna be intense because I'm gonna put all my energy into this. So I'm gonna look at you here. I'm gonna still talk and say, listen, we're discussing this issue right now, and I want you to understand something that I hear you. I support you and I'm encouraging you. I want you to understand that I understand where you're coming from. and I'm looking to explore you and be more interested in you. The eye contact is very important. And when you then match my eye contact, what you're really saying is I'm interested, but two, also I'm emotionally engaged. Now, that's very important. But then my body's also important because you see, if I turn my body, this is why YouTubers face front. We don't do YouTube like this. Now, unless you're doing a cut shot, most videos start with a front facing. Why? Because you're trying to connect to the audience. If I turn my body like this and I talk like this, and every time I'm talking to you like this, there's a disconnect. Although I'm connecting with you, there is some level of disconnect here, right? My whole body is not facing you. Now imagine you having a one-to-one conversation with me and I sit like this whilst I'm talking to you. Do you see what's happening here? So this is actually a really good indication about how someone deals with intimacy. Now, whilst I was in Egypt, I did some things. I experimented, okay? Because I wanted to see what was going on. I experimented with the eye gaze, and what I noticed is, because I'm an avoidant too, right? I noticed that a lot of women can't hold your gaze for very long, and the reason why is because they avoid it. A lot of them were avoidants. Because what ends up happening is it feels like you're being too intimate in that moment. It's like it feels overwhelming. And so what I clocked was, oh, okay, this is probably what I do too. When you're looking at me, I probably look away as well. I probably try to, dodge or whatever. But it's because I'm in power when I'm doing it to you. But if you do it to me, you're in control. And I also may do that. Oh, okay, that's a bit too much, right? Because I don't want to emotionally show up in that way. It's like you're seeing me. And the way you're seeing me makes me feel afraid because I haven't been seen like that since I was a kid. So if I've not been seen like that as a kid, that's not normal to me. So when you're looking at me like that, that feels like you're manipulating me. It feels like you're being, you see what I'm saying to you? So it's important, right? And that's why it's interesting because, and again, I'm making a statement about this, right? I noticed that also that happens with sex for a lot of people. Like, some people will be happily having sex, but they only want to do doggy. Why? And I know the conversation's gone left, but it is what it is. We have to talk about we're grown adults. But the reality of the situation is some people will only want to do doggy because they don't want to look at your face because they don't want to emotionally connect. So body language and posture and positioning is very important. It's why some people will not do missionary. Because if they look at you, they're seeing you for who you really are. They're looking at your face and they don't like your face and they don't like the intimacy you're bringing to the table. Okay? All right. And so I'm telling you that what Tyson is doing at this moment, his body's not facing us on purpose. He's maintaining emotional control. We saw this with Ace. Okay. We saw this game with Ace. Ace did the exact same thing where his body wouldn't match where his head was going. And it's because he doesn't like emotional intensity. It feels too much. Right?
Your
Surprised
sketches.
me. You
you have
have an eye for design.
Oh, thank you. You're very beautiful. Nice shoe choice too.
Thank you.
You have good
Appreciate
fashion
it.
sense. Not saying.
Because the way he's sitting right now, he's sitting like how he sits with a man. When men sit, they sit like this. We sit at an angle like this. You ever notice that? When men are sitting with women, with men, we sit like this because if you sit like this, it feels like a challenge and it feels too emotionally intense. So what men do is at an angle, we sit like this or we talk like this. We try not to talk too much like this. We try to talk like this. So we're standing shoulder to shoulder, but we're talking like that. That's how men usually try to talk to each other, right? But when you're with a girl that you like, you're supposed to be like, you're supposed to sit in front and see them eye to eye and connect in that way. You know what I mean? Especially if a girl don't like you, she'll let you know because that body language can be annoying. She will be pissed off. Simple as that.
I have a foot fetish, but those toes are really done nice.
So you pay attention to feet.
I do. I pay attention to feet, nails, the way a lady carries herself.
Okay.
You are not.
I mean, the feet were done. I can't lie to you. The brother, I ain't gonna lie to you. The feet were done up. They look good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. I don't have a foot fetish either, but good feet do be looking good. I ain't gonna lie to you. Okay, all right. So funny enough, obviously Tyson had to figure out who his match was. Let me see if I can get this clip for you as well. The one where Tyson thought it was thingy, because he actually thought it was thingy, but he didn't get it right. So let me just see if I can get this right. I'll get you a clip where he got it, but it's because again he doesn't recognize. Let's see this. Okay, I got a little clip for you guys with Tyson on his space.
Reasons. Number one, we both seem to coordinate.
Okay.
She understands nurturing.
She takes pole dancing classes.
Oh.
Hold on now.
Tyson.
I kind of sense immediately it was Jennifer. It was kind of like love at first sight for me. I don't know if that's really a thing anymore. I'm like,
All right. Man said I love at first sight thing. Yeah, because Tyson is infatuated with the surface, not the deep. Tyson is infatuated with the surface, not the deep. Tyson, for me, let me explain a bit more of his attachment, right? So Tyson, for me, is very dismissive of his own real feelings. He's a people pleaser, but he's dismissive of his own feelings, okay? He avoids confrontations. He avoids heavy conversations. He made up a schedule because he couldn't cut the ladies off, right? And so oftentimes he relies on physical affection. You saw how he did it. You saw how he was touching up Liliana and sent Liliana home. I said it. The way that he was touching up Liliana, and I said, oh, Liliana, what are you doing? You letting him touch up your booty? And Liliana thought she was slick too, using her body. Her and the other girl, what's the other girl's name? Using their body to try and steal Tyson Beckford. And the reason why they did that is because they've also clocked Tyson is surface level. He's sold by sex. He is sold by physical touch and sex. You can get Tyson that way. That's why those two ladies coming from a particular background, I don't want to say Latino or anything like that because I don't want to get the races and the ethnicities mixed up, but they sounded both Spanish to me. They both did the exact same thing. They used their bodies immediately. They got real close to Tyson and put themselves in his armpit. And then especially this other girl today, she was like, see my abs, see my stomach. I don't even work out. And I was like, babe, why are you using your body so much? And then I realized, yes, that's why Tyson has got that dismissive trait in him. He can flirt. He can, be physical affect. He has physical affection. He knows how to make people feel special in the short term. But when it comes to deep things that are emotional, he gets uncomfortable. Okay, he gets uncomfortable, and so in order to solve his issue, he decided to build a timetable for the ladies. And instead of actually saying, you know what, I need to make a current decision to remove some of the ladies out of my vicinity, he was afraid to let the ladies be angry at him. That's why Kat still got a chance. Tyson Beckford is not honest with his own self and with others. He's dismissive of his own feelings, and then he will end up dismissing yours. Because what Tyson Beckford is afraid of, he's afraid of a bad reputation. He's afraid of someone saying he's not nice. He's afraid of somebody saying that he's not a good guy. He's afraid of somebody saying, listen, Tyson isn't pretty. He's afraid of these things that are reputational, but don't actually really affect his deep, the emotional depth underneath. That's why he's even handling Kat, the white woman, the way he is. There's a white woman here that he's handling, and he's talking about how, she was talking about how she hadn't had time with him. And I was like, Rose, get rid of her. You don't want her. Get rid of her. You know you don't want her, bro. You're wasting our time. Okay. So for him, he's opening with his eyes, but not his heart. He needs to start seeing people with his heart, not his eyes. He needs to start seeing them deeper than the physical, outwardly of the person. And the only way he can do that is when he gets past his own looks. Right now, Tyson Beckford's problem is he only sees value in his outer shell, not his inner working. Like, he wants to people please so bad. That's why he was like, if you notice something he said, and I really resonated with it. He said, oh, I loved Liliana that she went on to skydiving with me. She just went with me, right? Which is quality time. And then she went on skydiving and she trusted me. I really appreciate that. And I said, oh, Tyson, your issue is that you feel like people don't, you like the fact that she trusts you and that she has placed you in a place where she can roll with you, right? And go wherever you want to go. And while that's great, that still diminishes all the other aspects of emotional connection that you actually need. You like the fact she trusts you. You like the fact that she's able to move along with you and, do something, right? Because again, you've placed value in you not being valuable. You don't think people can meet your emotional needs. That's why you put so much emphasis on saying, oh, I really appreciate you coming along with me. Thank you for doing what I want you to do. Because reality is, you don't think people really want to do what you want to do. You don't think people want to do what you want them to do. Okay? And so again, Tyson needs to work on that. That people pleasing needs to end and die, because it's going to cause him issues. And I'm sure it has. He's 50 something plus now. Okay? So you're leaning on your charm rather than your vulnerability. You're not doing the work. Okay? Your flirtiness is a protective measure rather than actually allowing you to connect with a person. You know, you feel deeply uncomfortable when it gets to emotionally intense situations, crying, deep needs, verbalized expectations, them saying they want more time with you, them saying they don't like this or whatever. He's extremely sensitive, and that's a problem. He's trying to avoid their sensitivity. So if somebody says they don't like him, he's extremely sensitive to it. Why? Because he's conflated his ego. He's conflated his personhood with his behavior. The two are not the same. They can be attached, but they're not the same. If I say I don't like your behavior, it doesn't mean I don't like you. I don't like your behavior. Doesn't mean I don't like you. But when you grow up in a household where you've been emotionally neglected, you don't understand that your emotions being neglected. You focus more on hyper independence. Okay, you focus more on hyper independence, and so your focus is you don't recognize that you have you don't allow yourself to realize that you have needs and they need to be met. So you meet them passive aggressively, and then you get annoyed when people try to call you out about your own behavior, how it's not meeting their needs, and then you get frustrated because you think they're talking about your personhood. That's not your personhood, it's your behavior. Yeah, if I say your behavior is bad, doesn't mean you're bad. Okay, so he needs to stop using his face as a substitute for depth. He needs to learn how to have more emotionally in-depth conversations, and start also being more earnest to cut off some of these gal. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying to you? Yes, his worth is determined by people pleasing. Okay. Allow it. Male models usually don't have great personalities. Allow it. Allow it. I hear it. Well, you know, a lot of them have been through some issues, I guess, isn't it? They you know, they don't get time to develop their personality, as one would say. Okay, so that happened. Okay. I want to go to another clip. Okay, so this is also interesting as well. Titan is interesting. Titan is interesting. This thing here.
I want us to have more time.
Well, we got one.
Hold on. I want to go backwards.
Or thirsty.
Okay.
Now, Titan, you know what you're doing, bro. You see what Titan is doing? Titan is not engaging in this hug. I don't know if Titan is... No, I'm going to say this. I think Titan is someone who is more presenting of secure, but I don't know how secure he is. I think you can get fooled by Titus because the way that he apologizes, the way that he is able to say to you, "Oh, I got this wrong." He does it so well. Okay, but the reality is, I don't know. Ivy doesn't like the people that's in that place, or Titus is somebody who's very reserved and he's mysterious. Now, usually that mysteriousness, people can have that and be secure. People can be secure and mysterious, right? But the majority of people that are mysterious usually got that dismissive trait. Yeah, they got that dismissive trait. Okay, usually they got a little bit of that dismissive trait, the mystery people, them. Yeah, but this.
Okay, just take it. Damn, she's loving. She's a physical therapist. I've taken a lot of beatings in my lifetime.
You like it?
It's the way that, you know what? It's the way that she obviously was hugging him up, but you can see that he ain't necessarily doing that back. And of course, listen, look, we see that a lot of men do that too. Oh, he's got a traumatic background. I didn't see his talk on that. I didn't see his talk. So he's got a traumatic back. That would make sense as to why the avoidance is there then. Because it's the way he's interacting. Okay. Oh, he's a product of... Oh, I didn't even know that. Damn. Okay. Yeah, that's a traumatic beginning, bro. That's a traumatic beginning. So right now, we may be seeing a character. It may not be all the way him. He might be playing the wrestler character and not his true character. I'm not saying he's violent. I'm not saying he's scary or anything like that. What I'm saying to you is he may not be as confident as he... when I say confident, as secure, sorry. Okay. So I need to even watch. That's crazy. I never knew that. Okay.
So I didn't dislike it. She might just be the one to help me heal in so many ways.
I want us to have more time.
Well,
I'm afraid that I'm afraid they're gonna get past the guard and find out who he is, and then find out that actually he got a lot more emotional issues. I'm afraid of that. I'm not saying that he is. Okay. I'm not going to say that he is. I'm going to say, I'm afraid that you're going to get past this wonderful character that we got on display and get past it, and all the wires behind the scenes are mangled. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm not saying you're going to be in danger. I want to make it very clear that that you see this tough exterior he's got physically, and it seems similarly mentally. I feel like when you get past that, you might get some mangled wires, and you might see that this man is not as strong as he was. And I wonder how he feels about being vulnerable in that space. Because obviously that's why it goes back to what Dr. Shawana now like he was excited about her aggression. Sorry, her forwardness. I think he conflates forwardness with desire. So that willingness of Dr. Shawana to be so forward was, oh, I'm being desired and I'm being wanted. You know? So that also maybe played a role as to why he really liked Dr. Shawana and her forwardness. Because as soon as she stopped, she was out of there. He sent her home, bro. Okay? Man said, you got to go. All right? Now, obviously, we've got Ariella now, who's doing this new job where she's showing a lot of affection. She may not be forward, but she is bringing the affection early. Okay? She bring that affection straight up. Gonna be interesting.
Got one. Well, we got one less queen in the equation. So I rushed into an engagement before, and it was a mistake. I got married.
So it's gonna be interesting. Okay, it's gonna be interesting. I probably need to do a little bit of a deep dive with him as well to get a bit more understanding, because I'm sure there's more to the situation with Titan as well. You know, and I think I put in my notes here that, you know, he said something very interesting. He said, and this is why I clocked that something wasn't quite right. He said about he wants to see how she's going to be. Is she going to be one person that's going to abandon him? And I said, okay, so we've got abandonment issues then, right?
Months after really connecting with my ex-wife, and I need time to develop substance to the relationship. I have two people that have been transparently saying I would love.
So I wonder if, you know, in that situation, yes, he said about I'll take it back. He's probably not dismissive. He's probably fearful avoidant then. You probably got a fearful avoidant man. And that's probably why he's more so emotionally in tune as well. Okay. That's probably why he's so in tune as well. That why he was able to apologize the way he did to Dr. Shawana and was able to connect with her in that particular way as well. Less dismissiveness and more the fact that he has both anxious and dismissive traits. Because fearful avoidants tend to be very compassionate people too, being very generic. Of course, some of you are mad, just like dismissive people are mad. There's mad people across all attachments, but I'm just saying, like, in general, you kind of see that fearful avoidants tend to be quite empathetic, quite deep people, needing a lot of intellectual stimulating conversations, stuff like that, right? So that could be also a part of it as well, I'm thinking, in that space.
Like to see where it goes. I want to feel confident that when you get in your feelings, your response ain't gonna be, well, I just leave.
Now, it's interesting that he says that his actual feelings is that he wants to see if she gets into her feelings, she won't leave. So what he's really asking is, I need to see that you won't abandon me in a tough time. I need to see that you're not going to release me in a tough time, that you're going to hold on so that I can feel safe, you know? And so that's actually really powerful. I didn't even know that. I definitely do a little background check. So I wonder what's going to happen when Ariella, what the issue is this. The dynamics of the show and any of these dating shows where one person's in power is very difficult because the power has to switch eventually. What does that mean? It means that eventually, for instance, Ariella being so caring towards his needs, eventually, what happens? Will you read that as abandonment? Will you read that as not desiring you? Will you read that as you don't want her, she doesn't want you anymore. That's where you're going to start to see the real truth of the relationship happening. Right now, these ladies are trying to win you. They're putting all their emphasis on your needs. So if you've got any trauma or emotional wounds, the moment that the situation changes and you get into a relationship, it gets into a relationship and then it becomes an equilibrium. When they start asking for their needs, how are you going to respond? Because right now, these ladies are very much focused on them. And that's why Janae is now testing Carlos, because actually that she's asking for, what she's asking for is now my needs need to start being met. Even though it's a little bit insecure, it still needs to be met. How will you respond? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at this. Okay, Dr. Shawana, because he sent Dr. Shawana home as well. In this space.
And I was like, okay, I can see that. So I'm gonna step back a second and let him kind of explore that. I didn't want to be suffocated. And your engagement with her was much different than the engagement that you had.
Now, Dr. Shawana, I've got to be honest with you. His engagement was exactly the same, baby girl. Okay. No, I tell a lie. You're right. She's right. No, it was different. Let me tell you why it's different. When I started this episode 1, what did I tell you guys about the aggression that she has? Sorry, wrong word. Her forwardness. Don't want to call her aggressive. I apologize. Her forwardness. What did I tell you about her forwardness? I said that it always starts off really, really well, but can you maintain that? No, because that's not really you. That's the point. That's not really you. You going and him saying that he wants it. I said, look, he gonna get tired eventually. Trust me, he gonna get tired because he's naming the wrong thing. Wanting that forwardness, and directness, even as well. All right. Although that a man was, I love that directness. Most times men don't love it. I'm gonna be real with you. When they say they love it, what they're hoping for you is that you have more balance. What they want you to do is be able to say, you know what, okay, you can be direct in certain moments, but you know how to turn it off. You know how to allow me to lead. You know how to allow me to be in leadership. But with that level of directness and forwardness, you're gonna struggle. Okay? You're gonna struggle. Now, of course, the moment she decided to step back and take her foot off the gas because she saw how he was approaching the other ladies, and that's why the game was rigged. In the very beginning, she was approaching him, so he matched her. But the reality of the situation is Tyson is still a man. And a man at that, he wants to still approach. He still wants to be allowed to come and get. Most men do. Okay, most men want to be allowed to come and get, but Dr. Shawana was coming to get. Baby girl, when you come and get, I need you to not play so cool, but I need you to place yourself in the eye line, but don't disappear. You can call me over, but you don't have to lead the conversation. You can start a conversation, but you don't have to you don't have to take my number, I take yours. There's a way to still do this in a way where you're not leading the whole entire thing. You can progress something or start it, but you don't have to lead it. But like I said at the very beginning, she started off by coming in strong. Ty was like, yeah, I love it. And I said, wait, hold on now. And then you see how he's doing the other ladies? But unfortunately for Jasmine, her situation was, remember Jasmine's situation? She wanted to pretend that she was something else. And I said, that's not going to work. Because now you're trying to compete rather than using your superpower. Allowing someone to come to you does not mean you don't do nothing. I don't think that means anything about doing nothing. No. When we say allow someone to come to you, it doesn't mean do anything. If you just flop there, lay there, that's you still allowing me to come to you, but you're flopping and dying there. No. When you are someone, you're meant to rope me in. You're supposed to rope me in. You know what I'm saying to you? So, like, let me give you an example. A girl sees you across the room, right? Looks at you, smiles, waves. She's invited you. She hasn't said nothing, but she's invited you. Now, whose idea was it? Was it me or was it her? I'm thinking, do you know what? She called me over, but I'm still thinking it's my idea, bro, because I have to still go over there. I'm going to go over there now. We're going to have a conversation, right? We're having a conversation. She doesn't ask me for my number, right? I at the end ask her for her number. She still led it, you know. It just looks like I'm the one leading. No. She led me. I wasn't leading. She was leading me. And so this is the game that men want to play. You know what I mean? So like when Jasmine was saying, should I change my tactic to now become like, I said, don't. If you start changing your tactic, you're going to lose, baby. Right? You're going to lose. And if you get frustrated about someone else got a different tactic, don't worry about it. Listen, if they're going to be aggressive, I'm going to be, listen, hey, look, I'm a cool character. I like to be doing this. You know what I mean? You stay cool and you stay attractive because that's what you do. You know that when he comes to you, you're about to be a beacon of light. You know what I mean? You're ready for your opportunity. You don't have to do what other person's doing. That's what I was saying about understanding that, roping us in. You know what I'm saying to you? But I also think he's got a type. I also think he's got a type. And I know before anyone says he's colorist, I don't think he's colorist. But I think he's got a type. I think he's got a type. Okay? All right? But I ain't going to say nothing, but I think he's got a type.
So the confidence that you displayed in the beginning of this journey dwindled?
It wasn't the confidence. I felt like you started to pursue that more. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if I had told you, I feel like.
But I also think what he's looking for is a woman who's very confident. And I think that reason why is because, again, maybe he's been in a place where he hasn't been confident. You know what I'm saying to you? What did I say? You said one can't keep up an act. Now you're saying don't switch up. Yeah, don't switch up. I'm saying don't switch up. Yeah, I'm not saying Dr. Shawana should change her behavior, but she shouldn't be as forward and direct anyway. Do you know what I'm saying to you? That's why she was going to lose in the end. I'm saying to you that you should not switch up. Jasmine shouldn't have switched up because she's trying to be more forward like Dr. Shawana. Jasmine shouldn't have been trying to do what Dr. Shawana was doing because it wasn't even right. He was never going to stay there because that forwardness and directness doesn't allow for him to hunt. She's hunting him. And he's been in a business where he's been a hunter for a long time. You know what I mean? So for me personally, when he's talking to obviously Dr. Shawana here, when he's talking to Dr. Shawana here, and yes, he mentions about the confidence, right? I think he likes a woman that is very confident. And that's why I think he confused her forwardness with confidence. The two are not the same. Someone being very confident doesn't always mean they're always going to be forward and direct. And that's why I said that what he's looking for, he may not, if you don't describe it very well, sometimes you're going to miss it because you're looking at it incorrectly at the wrong angle. Her being forward was not her being more confident. It can be, but it doesn't mean it was. You know what I'm saying to you? It doesn't have to be that. So what it was is that when you say confidence, is a person when you're saying confidence, a person's confident within themselves. They don't need to, they're not moved by you. And if somebody's an FA, one of the biggest things for them is that, remember, they've been in a childhood where they've been stripped oftentimes of that confidence. They're consistently putting up characters to present to be more confident. Not saying they're not confident, but they do that sometimes because they have to protect themselves. So they look for partners who are those things. So Dr. Shawana was very attractive when she was forward and direct because he attributed it to being confident. And the very thing that he needs, even though he's a confident person, so to say, right, is he needs them to be as confident. The moment they show a chink in their armor that they're not confident, he get rid of them. Now, Ariella, okay, isn't necessarily being as forward, but she is confident. She's able to maneuver with him. Now, I think he's got a type. Gomyozu. I'm not mad at it. Do what you want. I think he's got a type. Okay, all right. And she's a little light. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. A little light. I'm not mad at it. Just a little light. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to say. And that's a good point, though, El Cid. That's also a good point. That's a good catch. When he said that about Ariella. And if you're wanting somebody to heal you, do you know what? It's a good point, El Cid. A very good point. I'm not choosing anybody to heal me. There's actually a problematic statement. Oh, my God. I missed it. Thank you, El Cid, for that. It's a very problematic statement to make. He made that with Ariella because he said she's a psychotherapist or therapist, whatever. And, you know, he said, obviously, you know, looking for someone to heal me. But he made a joke, obviously, in a physical, but also a sexual way, right? I honestly think you're onto something else in here with that. I think there is an aspect here, okay, where I believe that, you know, he likes women that can heal him, who have a healing nature. Because I think a part of him is still wounded. He wants the nurturing side of a woman, the caring side of her. Because again, at 12 years old, if his mom was 12 years old when he had him, what could she give him? She's 12. She barely an adult herself. So that missed part may be something he's looking a lot in women, that he wants that feminine trait of being caring, nurturing, all over him, you know, wanting him. That's a very good point. That's a very good thing you brought up there. Well, look, listen, I gotta go. My time is up, but that's a very good catch as well. Make sure you guys are liking, sharing, subscribing. You're clicking on that bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked, slowly. We'll see you again soon. Also, I want to do a video on Huda. If you guys saw my video on Kiara, it made me realize that I need to do a video on Huda. Huda keeping Nick as a friend after he betrayed her twice is actually a good example of fearful avoidance, keeping friends close but enemies closer. Okay, Huda trying to keep Nick around after he sent her home twice is indicative of somebody who wants to keep enemies close, even after they've betrayed her trust twice. You know what I mean? But we'll discuss that another time. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you guys. Stay locked, so we'll see you again soon. Much love.